This was definitely the most intense culinary contest, using ingredients from hell, including blue cheese, truffle oil, canned fish, garlic, and fish sauce, among others. Even through the screen, I could smell the invigorating scent. In the next 60 minutes, the little chefs could choose any of these ingredients to create a master-level dish. Tonight, the two worst performers will be eliminated. Let's dive into tonight's stinky ingredient cooking competition. This challenge was extremely difficult. Turning these repulsive ingredients into deliciously fragrant dishes truly required magical culinary skills. Kaya made poached chicken with white truffle cream sauce and blanched vegetables. She cooked the chicken in a bag to better infuse the flavors, a technique she learned from her mother. It seems both of Kaya's parents are culinary experts. Under their influence, Kaya's cooking talent has clearly emerged. The little guy is aiming for the championship trophy. From what we can see, she is likely to make it all the way to the finals. Corey really disliked these pungent ingredients, so she chose garlic, which she could barely tolerate, to cook with. She crushed the garlic and mixed it with tomato sauce to pair with butterfly pasta, maximizing the masking of the garlic smell. But I think she didn't need to go to such lengths. Garlic and pasta are actually a great match. Tonight, Addison used rose water, fish sauce, and black rice. Many older friends must have eaten black rice as children. While black rice doesn't have any offensive smell, its texture leaves much to be desired. Addison daringly chose 4 flavored powders this time. She plans to use these ingredients to make a Thai coconut chicken soup. Her adventurous spirit is commendable. However, if mishandled, this soup could potentially overwhelm the judges. Adam opted for anchovies to make a pasta sauce. He also used truffle oil for frying. Although truffle oil is extracted from the prized truffle, chefs typically use just a bit to enhance flavors. Therefore, Adam's approach was quite risky. Nate chose blue cheese this time, which might as well be called stinky cheese due to its strong, pungent flavor. He planned to make a seared steak and fried baby potatoes, with the blue cheese serving only as a side. He aimed to use the intense aroma of the cheese to elevate the whole dish. Graham Elliott truly has a knack for cooking. Tonight's competition filled the venue with a tangy aroma. Although these ingredients have peculiar, even nauseating smells, they can still be turned into delicious dishes if paired correctly. In the final 90 seconds, the chefs must taste every ingredient in their dish and make timely adjustments, a crucial skill for any chef. As the competition ended, although some chefs appeared slightly disheveled during plating, they all managed to complete their dishes within the allotted time. Next, we move to the final judging phase. After 60 minutes of intense cooking, the chefs transformed these foul-smelling ingredients into outstanding dishes. The first dish was Addison's garlic fish sauce coconut chicken soup with pine nut corn chicken balls and rosewater rice. Addison took a great risk. Garlic and fish sauce do pair well, but pairing rosewater with pine nut corn is unheard of. However, from Christina Tosi's reaction, it was clear Addison's gamble paid off. The curry and rosewater combination released a unique aroma without altering the main tone of the soup, resulting in a smooth, rich broth and flavorful sides. This dish was truly impressive. The second dish was Kaya's poached chicken with white truffle cream sauce and blanched vegetables. The chicken was exceptionally savory and well seasoned. The subtle presence of white truffle did not overshadow the chicken, creating a unique flavor combination. Kaya's performance tonight remained exceptional. The next dish was Jacqueline's pineapple shrimp skewers with lemon rice and pressed rice salad. She marinated the shrimp in a sauce made from smoked red chili and cayenne pepper. However, the shrimp was still undercooked inside. Moreover, Jacqueline used pineapple cores, which are hard and typically not used in cooking. These technical mistakes indicated Jacqueline was on the verge of elimination. Next, Nate prepared garlic ribeye steak with fried baby potatoes, asparagus, red wine mushroom sauce, and blue cheese. The steak was seasoned with salt, pepper, garlic, and rosemary, making it deliciously perfect. The highlight was how he incorporated blue cheese into the overall seasoning, harmonizing all flavors and elevating the dish. Nate consistently surprises in every competition. The last dish was Adam's handmade pasta with anchovy sauce. He chose a wide pasta to better absorb the sauce, which included anchovies, truffle oil, and garlic. However, using truffle oil in the sauce was not advisable, as its strong scent overwhelmed other flavors. The pasta was also poorly executed, being too hard due to insufficient kneading. Unfortunately, Adam, making his first appearance, was eliminated by the judges, along with the underperforming Jacqueline. Tonight's best performances were by Nate and Addison, who with their steady execution won this important contest. The blue team put too much spice in their fish and chicken wings, overlooking that today's food tasters were children their age. If these foods were too spicy, it could very well make them vote for the opponent. So, the blue team's immediate priority was to adjust the amount of seasoning to suit the tastes of all children. Just then, today's young guests arrived at the competition on time, making the atmosphere instantly tense. The red team's Sam and Jesse even burnt the chicken wings. Now the only remedy was to make a new batch, but there was hardly any time left in the competition. On the other side, the blue team repeated their usual mistake. Mia put too much chili powder in the fish, and you could smell the pungent spiciness from afar. Ramsay reiterated that the food was meant for children, and if it remained this spicy, they would surely lose many votes. Unfortunately, the blue team had no extra fish left to remedy the situation and had to leave it to fate. Meanwhile, both teams of young chefs had entered the final plating stage. As the competition time came to an end, all the young guests would receive the same dish from both the red and blue teams and vote after tasting. Ramsay's elder son, Jack, who is much more handsome than his father, caused Addison and Caitlin to instantly turn into giggling fans. On the other side, after tasting the dishes, the guests began to vote. Just then, the red team ran out of food to serve because they had burnt many chicken wings earlier. The last guests in line had to leave with empty plates, disappointed, causing the red team to lose many votes. After all guests had voted, the judges quickly tallied the results. Today, the blue team, led by Addison, won the competition with outstanding teamwork and execution. The 8 team members would advance directly and enjoy the victory in a bounce house with Ramsay. The lagging red team had to stay back to clean up the kitchens of both teams. The 8 members of the red team would return to the studio to face a pressure test hidden behind a red curtain. Yes, it was a profiterole tower. Of course, the young chefs did not need to make such a large profiterole tower. They only needed to create a mini version within 90 minutes. The 8 young chefs were ready to dive into tonight's baking competition. 90 minutes might sound long, but it was barely enough. First, making cream puffs took a lot of time. They needed to continuously stir water, butter, sugar, salt, and flour. Then, mix the dough again in a mixer. Afterward, they had to wait for the dough to cool before they could start. Typically, a mini profiterole tower would require about 10 puffs. The young chefs had to consider not only the taste of the puffs, but also the overall aesthetics. Surprisingly, the usually steady Nate was stumped by this challenge. We saw that Nate had already filled his piping bag for the 3rd time, which wasted a lot of material and made his puffs significantly smaller than others. With 60 minutes remaining, the chef's puffs needed to be put in the oven. Amaya had made profiterole towers before and believed that the size of the puffs needed to be consistent, which would directly affect the baking results. Derek was making fast progress and had already started filling the cream. However, it was crucial not to spill the cream outside, as it would prevent the caramel from setting properly, causing the whole tower to collapse. He is the oldest and strongest boy in this season's competition. Unlike other boys, he has had a passion for baking since childhood, often making brownies, cookies, and cakes. Therefore, making cream puffs is not a challenge for him. With 20 minutes left in the competition, the young chefs should now start filling their cream puffs. Our usual troublemaker, Ian, encountered problems again without exception. His caramel actually turned into burnt caramel, starting to smoke. This was the third time Ramsay had to step in to help him. He must hurry to make another batch of caramel. Other young chefs have already begun assembling their cream puffs. This step requires extra care to avoid breaking the puffs while ensuring they look aesthetically pleasing. As the competition ends, 8 distinct cream puff towers are presented to the judges. The judges will now evaluate each young chef's creation one by one. First up is Sam, whose cream puff tower is filled generously with cream, topped with a layer of crispy caramel. The cream is delicious and perfectly proportioned to the pastry. Sam's performance is outstanding. Next is Nate, whose tower's curvature does not meet the requirements. Not only is the number of puffs insufficient, but the height is also below standard, and there's too much caramel, some of which is burnt. Upon cutting, the interior of the puffs is still wet, indicating poor baking. Third is Jesse, whose tower shape is perfect, and the pastry is crisp with precise baking. Aside from the caramel color being a bit dark, there are no other issues. Fourth is JJ, whose puffs are tasty and the caramel color very appealing. The quantity of cream used is moderate, and despite the shape of individual puffs being slightly off, the rest meets the judges' expectations. Fifth is Avery, whose tower looks average, but the perfect taste compensates for the lack in appearance, possibly making it the best dish of the evening. Sixth is Derek, whose tower was beautifully colored on the outside after being baked, but unfortunately, the puffs were undercooked inside. Seventh is Amaya, whose tower shape does not meet the requirements, but is saved by the generous and tasty cream filling, overall performing well. Lastly, Ian's puffs are perfectly baked and generously filled with cream, but each puff varies in size and shape, resulting in a visually unappealing overall appearance. After tasting all the creations, the judges chose Sam as the evening's best performer. Unfortunately, due to their poor performances tonight, Nate and Derek were eliminated. In this competition, the judges started acting up again as 2 huge yellow balloons slowly descended from above the stage, aiming directly at the young chefs' heads. The balloons were filled with lemon juice, which also happened to be the theme of today's first match. 14 young chefs were divided into red and blue teams for a contest where they had to prepare a large bucket of raspberry mint lemonade within 7 minutes. Christina Tosi would then blindfold herself to taste each team's creation, judging which lemonade tasted better. The winning team, comprising 7 members, would advance together, while the losing team would face the misfortune of getting drenched in lemon juice. Both teams were ready. Which team would end up soaked? Let's begin tonight's lemonade battle. From the start, the red and blue teams displayed starkly different dynamics. Sam volunteered to lead the red team, efficiently assigning tasks, and his teammates responded actively. In contrast, the blue team was in disarray, talking over each other with no clear order, making it impossible for experienced Captain Addison to get a word in. 1 minute into the competition, both teams dived into the intense preparation. They had to perfect the balance of sourness and sweetness in the lemonade, which also included raspberries and mint, requiring careful attention to the proportions of all ingredients. The blue team, despite being slightly older on average, fell behind due to their chaotic approach. Everyone seemed to be leading, resulting in disorganized work. Meanwhile, the red team worked quietly and efficiently, with Sam handling the final seasoning of the lemonade. As the competition entered its final minute, these crucial 60 seconds would determine the outcome. They needed to seize this last opportunity to adjust the lemonade's balance. When time was up, Christina Tosi blindfolded herself to taste the lemonades from both teams. For fairness, Ramsay shuffled the bottles, confusing even the chefs about which was theirs. The first bottle of lemonade was well balanced in sourness and sweetness, but lacked the distinct flavors of raspberry and mint. The second bottle, however, was much different, starting with a rich raspberry taste, followed by a gradual emergence of lemon, balanced with a clear mint flavor. Clearly, the second bottle of lemonade tasted better. The creators of this winning lemonade were the red team. Congratulations to them as they bypassed the elimination round and advanced directly. The losing blue team had to accept their punishment, but after cleaning up, the young chefs returned to the contest refreshed and ready to continue. Just then, an extremely eerie sound emerged from around them. Awesome job, guys. Oh my God, is this the Hell's Kitchen we know? He actually showed up at the contest in such an eye-watering outfit. If that wasn't ridiculous enough, wait till you see what's next. Seeing Graham Elliott in this ridiculous getup really blew my mind. Even the usually dignified Christina Tosi joined the team of goofy judges, dressed in pink and holding a gigantic mobile phone. She made quite an entrance with a whoopee cushion. In fact, the judges' different outfits represented 3 different eras, each associated with a signature dish. Ramsay brought a popular 1960s French dish, duck à l'orange. Graham Elliott brought a once trendy chicken Kiev. Christina Tosi, on the other hand, presented a classic 1980s surf and turf. Since the surf and turf got the loudest cheers from the young chefs, it naturally became the theme of tonight's contest. The 7 young chefs had to prepare the perfect surf and turf in their minds within 60 minutes. The pantry was stocked for them with lobster, filet mignon, New York strip, fresh vegetables, fruits, and various spices. After 1 hour, the 2 chefs with the poorest performance would be eliminated. The 7 chefs were ready to take on this challenge. Let's start tonight's surf and turf cooking competition. Though surf and turf is a classic dish, its complexity is no less than that of beef Wellington. The chefs had to pay attention to every detail. There was no room for error. This competition wouldn't limit the use of any ingredients besides steak and lobster, so the chefs were free to exercise their creativity. Today, Caitlin was cooking a seared filet mignon with Parmesan potatoes. Living far from the coast in New York City, she rarely cooked seafood. However, this time she chose to pair the lobster with a white wine sauce. Tejo planned to cook the steak to medium rare and complement it with a creamy lobster sauce. But one of his decisions baffled me. He decided to use sriracha sauce to prepare the seasoning. While sriracha is indeed popular, it is still a mass-market sauce. Tejo's choice significantly lowered the quality of this high-end dish. Addison was making Diane's steak and had just mixed lobster meat into her freshly prepared cream sauce. She added parsley and heavy cream to the sauce and also used a special ingredient to blend all the flavors together, brandy. If I were to do this, my mother would definitely remind me to be careful about the flambé. So kids, don't try this at home. However, cooking always involves some risks. Zach accidentally burned his hand, and medical personnel immediately applied burn ointment. Seeing this scene, you should better appreciate the hard work your parents do cooking for you every day. As the competition time ended, 7 exquisite surf and turf dishes were completed. Let's see how these 7 dishes tasted. The first dish was Addison's Diane steak paired with asparagus and stuffed lobster. Both the lobster and steak were perfectly medium rare. The sauce was made with brandy, scallions, garlic, parsley, and Dijon mustard. It tasted fantastic, and every ingredient was well seasoned. Addison once again impressed the judges with her spectacular performance. The second dish was a lobster with sriracha lemon hollandaise sauce and seared filet mignon prepared by Tejo, served over a bed of cauliflower puree. Ramsay was furious upon seeing this dish, remarking, "If you were cooking in my restaurant tonight, you would have been fired already." Surprisingly, Tejo had chosen to season the filet and lobster with sriracha sauce, a choice that nearly ruined the entire dish. The sauce was deemed low-end and the steak was overcooked. The spinach and cauliflower puree did not complement each other at all. Tejo was off his game tonight, and his situation looked bleak. The next dish was brought by Zach, a pan-seared filet mignon with grilled lobster accompanied by angelica root puree and fondant potatoes. Despite injuring himself twice during the cooking process, Zach's efforts did not go unrewarded. The steak was perfectly medium rare, just as he desired, and the sauce was flawless. Both the lobster and steak reached professional cooking standards and were exceptional. The fourth dish was Amaya's seared filet served with boiled lobster, green rice, and a secret garlic sauce. The sauce was so pungent that it overwhelmed Graham Elliott. While the filet was undercooked, the lobster was exquisitely delicious, especially with a hint of smokiness that added a unique flavor to the dish. Overall, the performance was quite good. Mia's next offering was a green peppercorn steak with Brussels sprouts and boiled lobster served with lemon dehydrated butter. This competition was particularly challenging for vegetarian Mia. Her lobster was undercooked to the extent that Ramsay didn't even taste it. The filet was decently seared, but still raw inside. The side dishes were barely passable, and unfortunately, both the main steak and lobster were poorly executed. Caitlin's dish was a lobster with white oil sauce and filet mignon with balsamic vinegar, accompanied by Parmesan potatoes and pan-seared Brussels sprouts. The dish was as beautiful as she is. The filet was textbook perfect with consistent cooking on both sides. She added rosemary and thyme while searing the steak, enhancing the overall flavor. The white oil sauce, a blend of scallions, garlic, white wine, cream, and butter, made the otherwise plain lobster exceptionally delicious. Caitlin took this surf and turf to a new level. The final dish was Corey's New York steak with red wine sauce and lobster meat with Creole sauce. Unfortunately, the steak was overcooked beyond medium well, making the meat tough. The lobster was overly seasoned, with only saltiness overpowering the lobster's natural sweetness. However, the sauce and side dishes were still tasty, showing Corey's dedication in the kitchen. After tasting tonight's 7 surf and turf dishes, the judges declared Caitlin the best junior chef of the evening. Unfortunately, Tejo and Mia, with their less impressive performances, were eliminated. Today's first competition required the young chefs to blindfold themselves to taste a mysterious dish personally prepared by Ramsay. They had to rely on their sense of taste and smell to identify the ingredients and cooking methods used within 5 minutes, then perfectly replicate the dish. The chefs were already blindfolded, and the 5-minute countdown began. Addison determined after just 1 bite that the dish used white meat, but it was hard to distinguish whether it was chicken or turkey. Zach felt it tasted more like pork, while Caitlin thought it was white meat cooked with a lot of herbs. Others tasted flavors of parsley, rosemary, almonds, green beans, and carrots. Their guesses were correct, but not entirely accurate. Once the tasting time ended, the chefs could remove their blindfolds. In the next 60 minutes, they had to use their judgment to recreate the dish. Apart from some essential ingredients, the judges had prepared several unnecessary ones to increase the competition's difficulty. The chef who perfectly replicated the dish would gain a significant advantage in the subsequent contests. Today's challenge lies in the chefs not only having to use their taste to identify the ingredients, but also relying on memory to deduce the entire cooking process. If they chose the wrong ingredients initially, even perfect cooking would be meaningless. Kaya was confident she tasted chicken breast, along with mashed potatoes, carrots, and green beans. It's well known that Chinese cuisine has the most variety and uses an abundant range of ingredients. Chinese naturally possess keen taste senses and a profound understanding of food. Let's see if Kaya can make the correct judgment with this innate talent. Caitlin thought she tasted white meat. Relying on her intuition, she chose chicken breast and also detected a hint of sweetness, so she opted for honey syrup and sweet potatoes to accompany the chicken breast. Hopefully, her intuition was right, as that would mean Kaya chose correctly too. Corey believed he tasted either chicken or duck, so he used both ingredients in his cooking, then tasted each to pick the one closest to the mysterious dish. This approach was smart, but undoubtedly increased his workload. In the final 10 minutes, the young chefs had to taste their dishes before serving and make necessary adjustments to match the mysterious dish's flavor. Just then, Kaya's frying pan suddenly burst into flames. Ramsay quickly intervened to turn off the stove. Fortunately, Kaya was not injured, and the chicken breast in the frying pan was undamaged. As the competition time expired, 12 exquisite dishes were completed and plated. Christina Tosi will personally reveal this mystery dish to everyone. The mysterious dish was a seared chicken breast, accompanied by mushroom sauce, rosemary tea-infused mashed potatoes, green beans, crushed almonds, honey orange sauce, and carrots with baby turnips. At the moment of revelation, some were thrilled while others were completely off the mark. Next, Ramsay will compare this dish with the young chef's creations. After the comparison, 8 chefs chose the wrong ingredients or missed several sides. Only Caitlin, Kaya, Ian, and Corey had the highest fidelity in their recreations. Now, the 3 judges will taste these 4 dishes to select tonight's 2 winners. The first dish was prepared by Kaya, a seared chicken breast with mashed potatoes, green beans, and carrots. The chicken was perfectly cooked, and the carrots with mashed potatoes were very delicious. Apart from missing mushrooms and baby turnips, this dish was flawless and as delicious as Ramsay's own. The second dish was by Corey, roasted chicken with mashed potatoes, green beans, and sautéed mushrooms. The chicken was very tasty, but it lacked baby turnips. The green beans did not include almonds, and the sauce was incorrect. However, the main ingredients were correctly chosen, showcasing Corey's exceptional taste. Ian's dish featured a seared chicken breast with roasted parsnips and mashed potatoes. Although his dish was missing baby turnips and carrots, the parsnips he chose are also a root vegetable, making his choice impressive. Plus, his chicken was very tasty, and the parsnips served a substitutive role. Overall, his performance was very good. The last dish was by Caitlin, a seared chicken breast with mashed potatoes and green beans. The chicken was cooked perfectly, and the mashed potatoes were very delicious. Although many sides and sauces were missing, the excellent seasoning compensated for these deficiencies. Overall, the fidelity reached an impressive 95%, which was quite remarkable. The performances of these 4 dishes were very close, but Caitlin and Kaya had the highest fidelity, making them the winners of this competition. Next, Kaya and Caitlin will take on the role of team leaders, each leading their team of 5 members in the upcoming challenge. Ramsay and Graham Elliott slowly pushed 2 large wooden boxes onto the stage. One box contained ingredients from New England and the other from New Mexico. Since Kaya performed the best in the previous challenge, she also had the priority in choosing. Without hesitation, Kaya chose the box labeled New England. During the selection phase, Caitlin, being older, picked JJ and Zach, along with the consistently performing Addison. Kaya's main strength lay with Avery and Sam, but even the problematic Ian and the low-profile Jesse were chosen by her. Kaya really isn't very good at selecting team members. The teams, red and blue, are now formed. Let's take a look at what ingredients are hidden inside these 2 huge wooden boxes. The ingredients in the red team's box include scallops, cod, clams, Vermont cheddar cheese, celery, parsley, and bacon, among others. Meanwhile, the blue team's box contains pork tenderloin, Spanish chorizo, corn, tomatoes, avocado, lime, and green tomatoes, and more. Over the next 90 minutes, both teams of young chefs will use these ingredients to create 31 dishes of masterful quality. As tonight, a special guest will be visiting the Junior Master Chef's exclusive restaurant. Their feedback will determine the victory of either the red or blue team. After the competition, the 2 worst-performing young chefs from the losing team will have to leave the Junior Master Chef stage. Both teams of chefs are ready, so let us dive into tonight's special restaurant challenge. This competition is extremely challenging. The young chefs have no idea how old tonight's guests are or what kind of food they might like. Therefore, they must be very thoughtful when planning their menus, aiming for dishes that are popular yet not too ordinary. As the teams prepare their sumptuous meals, 31 mysterious guests finally arrive at the special restaurant. It turns out they are a group of adorable grandmothers, all over 75 years old. This is good news for the chefs, as the grandmothers are likely to be very forgiving. However, their expectations for cuisine are also higher due to their decades of cooking experience. Tonight, the blue team's menu includes roasted pork with spicy sausage, corn, and stewed beans, along with avocado bean cakes and green tomato salsa. Upon meeting tonight's special guests, the blue team makes subtle adjustments, replacing ingredients that are too spicy or too hard with those more suitable for elderly people. Caitlin's ability to adapt and see the big picture is truly remarkable. The red team's menu features grilled clams with mussels and bacon. Kaya has tweaked the traditional grilled clams by adding mussels to enhance the freshness. They also prepared cod cakes and a celery salad. Once again, the problem child Ian ran into issues. He cut the celery into various odd shapes and didn't clean it properly. During team selection, nobody chose Ian. He was left until the end and automatically placed in Kaya's group because he often makes things more difficult for himself. Unable to stand by, Avery took over Ian's tasks to help keep the red team on track. With the last 20 minutes of the competition remaining, both teams of chefs had to begin plating. 31 dishes require a lot of time to arrange. By the end of the 90 minutes, 62 enticing dishes were ready. The grandmothers then tasted the creations from both teams and cast their votes. After the voting, a kind grandmother handed the results to Ramsey. Tonight's winners were the blue team, led by Caitlin, who will advance directly to the top 10 in the national competition. Unfortunately, Ian and Jesse from the red team were eliminated due to their poorer performance.